Child nurturing is usually a shared responsibility between both parents until the recent times that lone parenting became more widespread. Single parenting is simply raising a child by one parent alone, and this is seen as normal by some people or as absurd, unacceptable, shameful, and they stigmatize both the parents and their children. And according to research, 1 in 4 children grow up in one-parent homes, and that 42% of marriages end in divorce. A 2014 poll found out that 75% of single parents had experienced stigmatization. This is AFRIWOMAN on iBrandTV. My name is Margaret Upara. On the show today, we'll be discussing single parenting and stigmatization, where you meet our guests after the short break. So stay with us. You're welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is AFRIWOMAN on iBrandTV. And joining us now is Adefunke Adewunmi, who is a public relation expert, humanitarian, and also a businesswoman. So thank you, Adefunke Adewunmi, for agreeing to be on our show today.
Thank you so much. Nice being here.
Yeah, nice coming around. So how are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing very well. How are you keeping safe?
I'm keeping safe. You can see the social distancing thing, and also the COVID-19 protocols that has to be in place, because the world is thinking it's a joke. But I don't think. Or do you think that this is a joke?
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. People are dying, and because we have poor records and poor health issues that people really believe in it. A lot of people are dying thinking it's malaria or typhoid, but it is COVID.
Yeah. Like you've heard, please stay safe and observe every measure that's been put in place. It's for our good. But before, away from COVID-19, that's not why we are here. First of all, who is Adefunke Adewunmi?
Adefunke Adewunmi is, like I said, a public relations expert. I've been in public relations for the past 18 years, and I'm more like a consultant now. I'm a businesswoman, the CEO of the Food Sense shop. I'm also the founder of Black Diamond Support Foundation. I'm a single mom of 2 beautiful children, a boy and a girl. And I just love people. I love doing humanitarian work. I love making sure that we bridge the gap between the poor and the rich. At least let them have succor to live normally and enhance their standard of living. So that is just who I am.
Yeah, that's why like I mentioned, you are a humanitarian. You said there's a gap between the poor and the rich. But then I'm going to ask you about, you mentioned something about being a single mom, but I'm going to ask that after the short commercial we're going on right now. All right, you've heard from Adefunke Adewunmi, but we're going to go into the topic of the day. But firstly, we'll take a short break. So stay with us.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. I've found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo. I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.
You're welcome back. We are still speaking with Adefunke Adewunmi, who is a public relations expert, humanitarian, and also a businesswoman. So, Adefunke, you mentioned that you are a single parent, and I know that in Nigeria, in Africa, even in the world at large, single parenting comes with a lot of stigmatization. People see them as irresponsible, which I don't believe every single parent is. There's no way to say someone is irresponsible. What's your basis for irresponsibility? So what do you have to say about single parenting?
Thank you. Single parenting is something that I'm very, very proud of, because of the stigmatization. And being an humanitarian, I happen to be a voice of a lot of people. Let me say, including my co-single parent. So anytime I'm introducing myself, I love to call myself a single mom in my bio, and so that if other people say, oh, I'm a wife, father, I'm also a single mom, it's the same status. So far it has to do with family. And yes, there's a lot of stigmatization, there's a lot of people talking down on single parents. I don't want to make it a gender specific. Single fathers as well also face the brunt of being seen as irresponsible, and I don't see it as a tag, like you said, of making somebody irresponsible. Being a single parent is not a character default, it's not a problem. It is just what it is. And majority of people do not really go out there to want to be a single parent. It is circumstances. You can force an adult to take up responsibility of what they ought to know to do. So if you decide that I want to be responsible, these children came to this world on their own, we cannot just abandon them because we have our differences. That does not make me now irresponsible. I think the tag has to go to the other party who is not part of it. But sometimes we even have both parties involved in parenting the children, but they live apart. They are still single parents, single father, single mother. So it's just a tag that we're trying to erase in our society so that they can give single parents equal rights. Most of them don't even have access to accommodation. Even if they go for job interviews, the moment they hear, oh, single parent, what made you a single parent? How can we trust you to do this job? Are you sure you don't have a character flaw? You know, it's really, really rife. And we're just trying to advocate against that. So that's just it. Yes, I'm a proud single mother of about to be 10-year-old twins.
Oh, wow. But there's some perils of single parenting. Well, I call it a disadvantage, but I know most of the times it affects the child's development. Or do you share in that thought line?
No, it does not. It does not affect the child development. It depends on who is involved. If the person that has the custody of the children is bitter, angry, depressed, yes, it can affect the child development. But if you put away all those emotions behind you and you just brace up, I tell people that single mothers can be widows. They can be people that even go for surrogate. That does not make the child to be lacking in anything. The moment you decide to be a single mother or a single father, especially if you have the custody of the children, you need to be emotionally balanced yourself so that your child can be also mentally and emotionally balanced. It does not affect. Let me put myself as an example. My twins saw or met their father last when they were 8 months old, and they will be 10. And except if I tell you, in every aspect of their life, psychologically, emotionally, they are well balanced, because we also talk about it. I also ask them questions. What do you think I'm doing wrong? Do you think you're lacking in anything? If you go to your friend's house and if you see them well blended, do you feel somehow? Sometimes they tell me, I will talk about it, that mommy didn't choose this part, but it's just happened and we just have to make the best of it. And I remember when my daughter got the first position in an art competition in Lagos and she was interviewed to talk. And I remember what she was saying, that my mother is everything I have. And it shows that it's an acceptance of who they are. So it does not affect them educationally or in any way. So I think the child development depends on who is involved. Now, if two parties are involved, both the father and the mother, but they live separately, I think when they are meeting with a child, they should put away all differences and try to be a blended family during the visitation. So that makes the child see the world, because these children, they came as innocent as anything. It's just like a dog. It's whatever you train them, it's whatever they see that they grow up to be. So I think it's more or less have to do with adults that they are surrounded with that affects their development, not because they are single mother, single father's product.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that your twin children first met their father when they were 8 months old.
They saw him last.
They saw him last when they were 8 months old, and till now they're up to almost 10, and they haven't. Why is that? Is there a reason? Was it?
Yeah, I've not really talked about this, but it's not really, I won't really go deep, but let me just praise upon it. It wasn't just ready when I got pregnant, and he had another move, and he called me and asked me to take it off or take a decision to be responsible for them. And I was like, okay, this is an adult decision. Let me take the decision to keep them and to be responsible for them. I took that decision thinking he might come around, but he didn't come around. But it's fine because it was a decision, it was an informed decision I took to keep the pregnancy and to have the children.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then I'm sure as a human, there would be a part of your life that at some point you felt bad. So how were you able to cope with that depressing moment? Because I can imagine what that would be like.
Yeah, I remember. Yes, because when I had them, you know, when you're pregnant and you're like, oh God, you're happy to see baby, you don't really understand the stories that come after you, the pampers, the sleepless night, and I really, really wanted him to be there. And every time I reached out, it ended up in domestic violence. It comes back with a lot of eating, a lot of DV. You've told me you won't disturb me, so why are you disturbing me? That, you know, so I just took a decision. Will you look for a way out to solve all your needs, both the emotional and the financial needs where I needed him, especially in the first 6 months of their existence? Or will you be calling him and be involved in DV, going to the hospital and all of that? So I just took that decision, and we both sit again, and he said it's fine by him, and that was how he left us.
Well,
yeah, I felt bad. Everybody wants a full family, but that's what I'm saying, that when it happens, you just need to move on. You just need to make the best out of it and take the best decisions for the children.
Yeah. Earlier on the show, you mentioned that it's being a single parent. When you mentioned it, you have even in your workplace, there's an accommodation. So how has this affected you as your work as public relations consultant or expert, as humanitarian, and also a businesswoman? How did that affect?
Yeah, even where I'm living, there's this kind of condescending look they have for single mothers. There's this kind of wall look, like, oh, she's irresponsible. Or maybe when they are bringing bills and they'll be like, oh, she's going to be the one owing bill. You know, this kind of crazy, it's so funny. Like, oh, just go to her flat. She'll be the one that I've not paid. It's just an assumption that being a single mother, you are so irresponsible. You are not paying your bills. You'll be the one owing. You'll be the one that parked the car wrongly. You'll be the one. It's just a crazy mindset, which I never did. I've never ever owed a bill. My house rent, my lawman bills, utility bills, I even pay before the so-called married and well-blended responsible family. I think it's a cultural default. There's a cultural problem that we need to correct. People should not look, it's more or less like disability. People should not look at people with a particular condition or a particular lifestyle as different from who they are. It's supposed to be inclusiveness. If I'm a single mother, that does not make me different. That does not make me to be under you. Also in my working place, I happen to be a vocal and quiet. I know what I'm supposed to do, but every time I want to talk, they will always want to honor the person with the gold ring finger before me. You know, it's a crazy silent thing that you see around you. Even among friends, they will first of all invite the married ones before they invite. Don't let her come to your house. You know she's not married. It's a crazy thing. So I just feel that we need to And that is the reason why a lot of people want to die in domestic violence marriages.
Okay.
That's the reason.
Because they don't want to come out and
they don't want to come out because nobody is ready to accept them. Nobody wants to. They will find it difficult to integrate into the society. I am saying this on air that 80% of my family members don't want to associate with me because we come from a dogmatic Christian setting that frowns against single parenting. And because of that, they want to push me up. So it's crazy. It's everywhere. So most people that are in DVD, let me just stay there so that I can still be socially accepted.
But then it's one thing to be socially accepted and it's another thing to accept yourself. You said the people want to die in domestic violence because nobody's ready to accept them. But come on, what happens to accepting yourself?
That's
like your case of being a single parent, you said it was due to circumstance. You didn't choose the path. Now, people who intentionally do surrogates and they want to be single parents. I know people that say, I don't want to get married, I just want to have a child, male, female. Some people, a guy can say that, a woman too can say that. So, how coping with stigmatization? If you've been able to cope greatly, for you to be able to say this, that means you're coping.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy at first. Like I'm saying, we'll be 10 years in it in April. So it wasn't easy. I went into depression. I went into solitude. I cut off myself from, sometimes even when I still remember it, I still cry because it was painful. Losing people you think will always be there for you. We live in a communal setting that we want people to accept us. We're not abroad, we're not Europeans, we are Nigerians, where that family society as an integral part of our life and growing up. So imagine them cutting off from you because you are now a single parent. It was not easy. But from years to years, I started having that self-love. I started loving myself. I started diverting everything to my humanitarian work. Because if I go to the slums, those children don't know who I am, roll with them. And I realized that, okay, you're better than these people. Your life is even more envious than these people. So why do you now want to kill yourself? But I really battled with depression. I battled with post-traumatic disorder. So it is not an easy thing to do. But what I keep telling people that are into domestic violence or people that are over 40 and they want to have children of their own is brace up. Learn to live your life outside what the society will say. I remember there was a time my children needs to go somewhere for 2 days so that I can go and hustle and get money. Almost all my married friends never wanted to accept them in their house because their husband said no. And I asked one of them, why is their husband not accepting? He said, because right from then, their husband does not feel comfortable because I'm a single mother. And I was like, wow. I needed to bring somebody in to come and stay with them. When I go back and I asked, what really happened? And she just started crying that she didn't really have a problem. But her husband and her mother-in-law said they can't take them in, that I'm a bad influence on her. And I said, really? Wow. This was me really advising you not to leave your marriage, always talking you whenever you report. And I just broke down because this was coming from a very, very close friend. So it's crazy. It's a crazy thing. And also the financial aspect was mad. I remember I sold all my gold. Because you just have this mindset that you can cope, you can do it all alone. But when the chips are down, when the Pampers, the SMA gold, I'm
which
like,
are expensive.
Like, are you kidding me? And having a nanny, house help, I just started selling my gold because I lost my mom also 3 months before I had the children.
And that's a lot of trauma.
It was a lot of trauma for me. I would just carry one of the goods, I would go and sell it at Yaba. Then from the Yaba, there is a store. Then I'll buy what they need again. It will last us for 2 months. I'll pick up another gold again. So it is a crazy thing, but it is still better than killing lives or dying in silence. Everything I went through was a process, was a story. Now I advocate for DV people to come out. I have shelters to put them in. I can talk to single mothers. So I think I went through all that to bring out a ministry to save other women.
Oh, that's quite an interesting story there. But we'll take a short break now because we have a lot to talk about when we come back.
All right.
All right, now I'm sure you're enjoying the show. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we have a lot to talk about. Only if you stay with us. So stay tuned. You're welcome back to the show. If you're just joining in, this is AFRIWOMAN on iBrandTV, and we're still speaking with Adefunke Adewumi, who is telling us a story on single parenting, how it has been for her, the challenges, the tears, the joy, and everything that comes to single parenting. So thank you, Adefunke. That was quite a pathetic story there. I'm surprised your eyes are still dry. That
Very
should be
dry.
so much strength
10
you have in you 10 years ago. So 10 years ago is just like 2011 is yesterday. So I'm sure there's some, like you said, whenever I think of it, you still have this down moment, but I'm sure you'll be better with time. But now, single parenting, you have time to spend with your children as a single parent. Even families who are together, sometimes the husband is busy or the wife is busy or they are both busy. Talk of you who is a single parent. And you also mentioned that your children, you talk with them, you make sure they're mentally okay, they're not drained, they're not lacking. So how much time do you have to spend with these kids?
Next question you just asked this is the first time I've been asked, and is the most important and the most sensitive question of my life.
I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, I've always been looking for people to avoid asking me that question. But you asked, but we answer you. I'm not going to jump in. It's not been easy. You know, I have this kind of quality I want to give my children, lifestyle. And I decided not to go down on that quality. So that makes me to work extra. I have my humanitarian. I have my business. And what I try to do is that any time I have without doing anything, I devote it to them. But the truth is, it is not enough. It is not enough. Sometimes I cry when they need my attention, wish the other party could have filled in. And I don't have, I can't give it to them, and they just look at me and they're okay. But most of the time, I try as much as possible to be there for them. I try as much as possible. I don't go out. I sacrifice my weekends for them. We spend almost every Sunday together, and also some Saturdays too. I try to spend it together with them. And every time we have a little time, we go on a vacation. I just want them to be around me and all that. But in as much as it's that, the single parenting cannot be a perfect lifestyle for a child. But the same problem we have in single parenting lifestyle is also in blended family lifestyle. We have some parents that don't even see their children. They go out 7 a.m., come back 11 p.m. The house help would have taken care of the children and all of that. So it does not really have to do with because you're a single mother or because you're married. It's just about us being deliberate in creating time for our children.
Okay. But as a single parent, as we wrap up, what advice would you give to single parents? Like you are humanitarian, of course, and also coping with stigmatization, which is very important. Lots of persons do not know how to cope. They slide into depression. Some take their lives. Some even start developing a kind of hate for those children because for instance, if he or she looks like the man or the lady that did that to you, just like, come on, what's the advice you would give to single parents, both male, female, who are going through?
I'm going to use myself as an example again. I remember the first 2 years of our single parenting because I call my children the directors of the Single Parents Association because it's the three of us in it. I developed that kind of hate. Like I quickly understood that I was developing it. So I spoke to my nanny who is far older than me, that grandma, this is what I'm going through. I want you to please ensure these children are not with me. I called a therapist that I just feel this kind of hatred towards my children. I was started walking around it. But before that time, I spoke to their nanny. So anytime I'm coming back from work, their nanny just take them to their room and just engage them while I cope with it. And I thank God that in less than a week, I was already missing them and it came back. So it's natural. And I was working with my therapist. So I think I want to advise them, never ever live in self-denial. Know where you're having the problems, face it, deal with it, so that your children will not backfire on your children. And also don't make yourself victims. I'm begging single parents, especially single mothers, don't make yourself like you have one disability or the other. Come in and beg, I'm a single mom, so you have to be a beggar. Please. Try to get something doing. Try to be effective. Try, because I told people that when the chips were down, I started with cleaning houses. I will back one of the three, my house will back the other one. Every weekend, I will go to this estate agent who has collected a new house. We're cleaning houses, we're making bed sheets. That's why I have this kind of little taste for interior decor. I started reading about it because that's the only thing that can give me quick money fast so that I can be able to pay bills. Even with that, when I now need extra help, it does not make me now a victim. Some single parents have made themselves victims. And for the stigmatization, people call you what you call yourself.
Correct.
If you do not allow them to stigmatize you, over time they will forget about it. Like in this company, they'll be like, before they do anything, I go and meet her. She's the one that can do it. Because over the years I've been living here, they know that I am totally responsible. I pay my bills. I'm even the one giving the compound lights. So they know that, oh, this girl is even doing more. Even my landlady, when I wanted to collect her, she was like, will I be able to pay? I said, Mom, did you ask the same question from the people that came with their husband? And the woman just said, give her the house. Because that was the next question I asked her. If I had come with a man, would you ask me this question? She now said, give her the house. And this is my 5th year. I've never owed her one. Also in my former house. So we should try as much as be responsible. And if you're living above your means, try to cut your coat according to your material. Reduce your standard of living to where you can be able to cope with your children. And also, don't be bitter. If the man is responsible, picking up the bills, let him have uncontrolled access to the children. Let him be able, if it's not violent, if it's not somebody that is a potential danger, don't use the children as a pawn to settle scores. Because you are no longer with their father or you're no longer with their mother. So I think that's just my advice for them. They will be fine.
They will be fine in the end, right? Thank you so much, Adefunke, for sharing this story with us. I'm sure there's a lot people have to learn from it. Thank you once more.
You're welcome.
All right,
thank you, Margaret.
All right. You heard all she said. If you're going through depression or you think you would be depressed at any point, please seek help. And also do not let anyone stigmatize you. Just like she said, people would call you by what you call yourself. And this is where we wrap it up on iBrandTV's AFRIWOMAN. My name is Margaret Opera. See you next time.